The whispers began the moment she entered the classroom. Why does she look so dark? Someone snickered. Amara froze, clutching her books tighter, pretending she didn't hear. But she did. She always did. Every laugh, every cruel comment carved deeper into her heart. She wished she could wash away her skin, just to fit in. Little did they know, the very thing they mocked would one day make her unforgettable. Amara was only 14 when she realized how cruel the world could be. Her mother always told her she was beautiful, that her deep ebony skin shone like velvet under the sun. But in school it was different. Beauty had rules, and she didn't fit them. At lunch, no one wanted to sit beside her. The other girls compared foundation shades and hair colors while Amara quietly ate her sandwich, pretending not to care. They giggled, whispering words like burnt and shadow, thinking she couldn't hear. But she did. Every word became a scar. One afternoon, the school announced a spring beauty contest. Excited, Amara filled out the form. She practiced her smile in the mirror that night, her mother cheering her on. But at school, her name on the list drew laughter. A beauty contest? For her? One of the popular girls sneered. She'll make everyone else look better by comparison. The day of the contest, Amara stood backstage in a simple white dress her mom had stitched herself. She wasn't expecting to win. She just wanted to be seen. But when she walked out, a boy in the crowd shouted, "Turn off the lights. She's glowing too much." The audience erupted in laughter. The judges smiled awkwardly, quickly moving on to the next contestant. That night, Amara cried silently into her pillow. Her mother found her and held her close, whispering, "You are not what they say, my love. Your skin tells the story of queens." But even her mother's words couldn't silence the echo of laughter that haunted her. Over time, Amara learned to hide her pain behind silence. She stopped volunteering for anything public. She avoided mirrors. Every insult replayed in her head, a cruel reminder that the world had already decided who she was allowed to be. Until one rainy afternoon, when she stood by the school window watching raindrops blur her reflection. "Maybe one day," she whispered, "they'll see me for who I am." And that's when something inside her changed. It wasn't loud or dramatic, just a quiet spark of defiance. A promise to herself that one day, she would rise above every voice that told her she wasn't enough. That day, Amara stopped trying to fit in. She didn't know how or when, but she knew this, like someday the same world that laughed at her would say her name with awe. Years passed, and the laughter that once haunted Amara slowly turned into fuel. Every insult became a stepping stone, every rejection, a reason to keep going. When she left for college, she promised herself one thing: she would never again apologize for her skin. At first, it wasn't easy. The modeling world was still cruel, still ruled by standards that rarely looked like her. During her first audition, the photographer glanced up and said coldly, "We're looking for a lighter tone, something more marketable." She thanked him and walked out, but this time she didn't cry. She went home, stood in front of the mirror, and whispered, "They don't get to decide my worth." Amara began posting photos online, raw, unfiltered portraits of herself. Her skin gleamed proudly under sunlight. Her natural curls crowned her like a halo. She didn't try to change who she was. Instead, she showed the world what beauty looked like through her eyes. Within months, her photos started going viral. Comments poured in, not insults, but admiration. "Finally, someone who looks like me. Your skin is magic. You're the reason I stopped bleaching my face." For the first time, Amara felt seen. Then came the email that changed her life, an invitation from a major modeling agency in New York. They had seen her online campaign titled Melanin Majesty. The creative director wrote, "Your confidence radiates. We want that on our covers." Amara couldn't believe it. The same world that once mocked her was now asking her to represent beauty. When she arrived in New York, everything felt surreal. Flashing lights, bustling studios, makeup artists rushing around her. But through it all, Amara remained grounded. She remembered the little girl crying in her room, the laughter echoing in her ears. During her first professional shoot, the photographer adjusted the lights and paused. "You have a rare kind of glow," he said softly, almost to himself. Amara smiled. "I've had it all along. You just had to see it." That campaign went on to appear on billboards across the country. Her deep, flawless complexion against bold gold lettering that read, "Beauty has no shade." Soon, international brands reached out. Paris, Milan, London, her name was everywhere. Amara Daniels had become a symbol of self-love and empowerment. In interviews, she often spoke about her past, but never with bitterness. "The people who laughed at me taught me something," she said once on a live talk show. "They showed me how powerful I could become when I stopped trying to be accepted." Still, beneath the success, a part of her heart longed for closure, not revenge, but a chance to show the world, especially those from her past, what she had become. So when she received an email from her old school asking her to be a guest speaker for their Inspiration Week, Amara didn't hesitate. It was time. She stood on that same stage where she had once been humiliated. The same walls, the same echoes, but everything was different now. Students filled the hall, whispering in awe. Cameras flashed. The school principal introduced her with pride. "Please welcome international supermodel and activist, Ms. Amara Daniels." As she stepped forward, dressed in a stunning gold gown that shimmered under the lights, Amara smiled. Her skin, once ridiculed, now glowed brighter than ever. She began her speech. "When I was your age, I stood right here, but back then I wasn't smiling. I thought my skin made me less. But today, I stand before you to tell you, it's my greatest strength." The hall erupted in applause. Teachers wiped tears. Even some of her old classmates, now grown, sat sat quietly in the audience, faces flushed with guilt and disbelief. Amara looked around, her heart calm. She had finally done it. The girl they once mocked had become the woman they could never forget. The applause faded, but the emotion in the hall lingered like a heartbeat. Amara stood there, looking out over a sea of faces, some new, some painfully familiar. Time had changed everyone, but she could still recognize the ones who once whispered behind her back, the ones who giggled when she passed by. Front row, she spotted Samantha, her old classmate, the ringleader of the bullying. Once the pretty girl everyone admired, now she sat still, her expression unreadable. When their eyes met, Samantha quickly looked away. Amara took a deep breath. "I used to believe," she said softly into the microphone, "that I had to become someone else to be loved, lighter, thinner, quieter. But every time I tried to change, I lost a piece of myself. Until one day I realized I was never the problem." Her words carried through the hall like a warm wave. The students listened, enraptured. Some of the teachers nodded, knowing all too well how cruel kids could be. After her speech, the school principal approached with tears in her eyes. "You have no idea how much these students needed to hear that," she said. "Thank you for coming back." Amara smiled politely, but her gaze drifted again toward Samantha, who was still seated, fidgeting with her phone. Something inside Amara told her to walk over. She did. "Hi, Samantha," she said, her tone calm, not confrontational. Samantha looked up, startled. Amara. Wow, you look incredible." "Thank you," Amara replied gently. "You look different." There was an awkward silence before Samantha exhaled and whispered, "I was awful to you back then. I don't even know why. Maybe because you were everything I wasn't brave enough to be." Amara paused, letting the words sink in. Then she smiled faintly. "We were kids, but the difference is I grew from it. I hope you do too." For a moment, Samantha looked like she might cry. "You did more than grow," she said quietly. "You became unforgettable." Later that evening, Amara sat in her hotel suite, overlooking the city that once felt too big for her dreams. The skyline shimmered under the sunset, and she felt something she hadn't in years: peace. Her assistant Lila entered the room holding a sleek folder. "You've got another campaign offer. Vogue wants to do a cover story. They wanted to focus on your journey." Amara smiled. "Tell them yes. But this time, I want it shot here, in my hometown." The next month, the photo shoot took place at the same park where she once sat alone as a child, wishing she looked different. The cameras flashed, capturing her against the soft glow of the evening light. Her deep brown skin glistened like bronze. Her natural curls swayed with the wind. The magazine cover headline read, "The girl they tried to dim. Now she's the light." The issue went viral overnight. Young girls across the world shared her story online, tagging her with messages of gratitude and pride. But what truly humbled Amara came a week later, a letter, hand-delivered to her agency. It was from a 13-year-old girl named Nia, who wrote, "I used to hate my skin because everyone said I was too dark. But after seeing your story, I stood in front of the mirror today and said, I'm beautiful. Thank you for helping me see that." Amara held the letter to her chest, tears filling her eyes. That moment meant more than any magazine cover or fame, because now her pain had purpose. She started a foundation soon after, the Lumina Project, aimed at empowering dark-skinned girls through mentorship and education. The tagline read, "Shine without apology." Her foundation partnered with schools worldwide, organizing confidence-building workshops and campaigns to challenge colorism and redefine beauty. Years later, Amara stood again on another stage, this time at a global beauty summit. As she spoke about diversity, acceptance, and courage, the crowd gave her a standing ovation. Backstage, a young reporter asked her, "What does success mean to you now?" Amara smiled. "Success," she said, "is when a girl who once felt invisible finally sees herself and realizes she was never the problem." The reporter nodded, tears welling up. As Amara stepped outside into the sunlight, cameras flashing, fans cheering, she looked up at the sky, the same sky that had watched her cry years ago. But now, her tears were of gratitude. She had not only healed, but had become the light for others. And somewhere deep down, that little girl inside her, the one who used to hide from mirrors, finally whispered